Good evening. It's Wednesday, April 24th, 2019. It's a beautiful summer-esque night outside here in San Jose. That was outside of the arena, outside of SAP Center. Unfortunately, inside of SAP Center, at this point, the San Jose Barracuda, what they have to look forward to is the summer. As the season is over, they fall to the San Diego Gulls tonight in 4 games in the best of 5 first round series by the final score of 5-2. I'm Kevin Lacey of Tealtown, USA, and this is Barracuda After Dark. Now, we've had a lot of new subscribers here recently due to the amazing Sharks push that, that you all witnessed, culminating last evening. So if you are new and wondering what the heck is going on, who are the Barracuda? First off, that is the Sharks farm team, if you didn't know that. I hope you did already. But second of all, thanks for checking it out. And I don't have a whole lot of great news since the Barracuda did fall and end their season tonight. But I'm here to recap the game, talk about what's in store for the future of this organization, since that's what this is, a farm system. I'll start off right off the bat with some good news. Sasha Chmielewski and the Ottawa 67s won the Eastern Conference Championship in the OHL this evening. So Sasha is going on to the finals, and the Barracuda could have used him, but it's going to be growth for him. Hopefully he comes back with a trophy, and next year will be an awesome year to have him on the Barracuda in maybe teal, or I think orange. I'm just waiting for that announcement. But again, thank you all for tuning in. All right, I got some liveliness in the chat. AO12345 said he saw me at the game tonight. I wish you'd said hey. I'm sorry I missed you, but yep, Memorial Cup time, says Cheryl for Sasha Chmielewski. First off, the big news right off the bat for the game this evening was Francis Perron was a healthy scratch. As far as I'm aware, he was a healthy scratch by Roy Sommer. At the start of the year, all we did was rave about Francis Perron outscoring his entire career within the first 6 weeks or 8 weeks of the season, whatever it was. And he was an all-star. He won the accuracy shooting competition at the skills, super skills, or how do they call it? The AHL All-Star Skills Challenge, something like that, whatever. And really, the offense dried up there the second half of the year. So Francis Perron was scratched. Royce Sommer trying to shake things up. Max Latunov was also a scratch. In went Antti Suomela, who everyone has been asking about, who I had thought was a healthy scratch. He was back in the lineup tonight, as well as Lukas Radil, who played for the Sharks last night in Game 7 against the Vegas Golden Knights. Did not play very much at all. And so a tweet that was sent to me by Jock King, basically, to sum up, I don't have it up right in front of me, but to sum up, he asked, what is the point of sending Lukas Radil down? The Sharks have injury issues at forward between Joe Pavelski, Jonas Donskoy, Timo Meyer's still got the wrist thing, we think. It goes on. Michael Haley's out. So why are they risking Lukas Radil getting injured in a Calder Cup playoff game? And for that, it's simply get game conditioning. Lukas Radil had not played in a while. He had not played in any of the Barracuda playoff games. He had not, until last night, played in any of the Sharks playoff games, and he'd been sitting there for a couple of weeks. Practice is practice. You get your physical conditioning, but not your game day conditioning. And for this, knowing again that Joe Pavelski, Jonas Donskoy, Michael Haley are all injured, to me, it was the right call to have Radil come down, not only to boost the Barracuda, but get himself ready for the series against Colorado, where he will be relied on to play good minutes, especially after what happened with Barclay Goodrow last night. You know, that fourth line, at least to start the series, is going to get a couple of extra minutes, I have to think. So moving on to the actual game. First off, Sleepy Mofo actually saying he's disappointed about Max Latunov. That's another player like Francis Perron. Great 2 months of the season at the beginning, but really just down the stretch, I think he may have had some injury issues. Not really sure. I don't think this was an injury for him being scratched tonight, because I did see him during warm-up. He looked fine. He had his big smile that he always does during warm-up. He didn't seem to have any issues at all, but he was out nevertheless. So in come Radil, in comes Suomala, and in comes Alex True. If you follow me on Twitter at Kevin Lacey 22, you would have seen a tweet that I said the X factor in this game 4 would be Alex True getting on the score sheet, because Alex True, the leading scorer in the regular season for the Barracuda, had 1 assist and a -4 in the first 3 games. Really just not effective. Now, there was a little bit of line shuffling. Francis Perron was on his line for a bit. Jeff Viel was on his line. I actually like how Jeff Viel played in the playoff series, and maybe I'll get to that later. But overall, just nothing going for Alex True, not being noticeable. And for that big body presence, it's really unfortunate that he hadn't been noticeable in the first 3 games. So what did he do? 50 seconds into the game, he cuts from right to left across the offensive zone, takes a wrister and beats Jeff Glass, kind of a squeaker through the 5-hole, but nevertheless, that gets Alex True on the board. That gets the crowd into it. It's 1-0 with yet another early goal for the Barracuda and another early goal for Alex True. Alex True had led the league, he was 3rd in the league, tied with Dylan Gambrell for the most goals to start a game at 7. I guess that's the best way I'm going to describe that. Was he in the regular season had scored 7 game opening goals, and tonight cumulatively made 8. So really good to see him get back on the board. And the Barracuda were rolling at the start of the game. They were pummeling Jeff Glass with shots. Again, still much like in game 3, if you saw the After Dark for that, the Barracuda were having issues actually getting the puck on goal. They were getting a lot of chances, but a lot of missed opportunities wide and whatnot. I do think they cleaned that up a little bit. But overall, Jeff Glass really was the difference. After that first goal, that first shot going in right off the bat, he did settle in. The Gulls defense, you have to give Dallas Eakins a lot of credit, because he really outcoached Roy Sommer in this series when you think about it, because the adjustments that Dallas Eakins made really worked for this team. I don't think either team played a complete 60-minute game, and that's not that uncommon since it is still the AHL. It's a development league and whatnot. You don't even always see that in the NHL. Heck, you saw that with the Sharks game last night, where they started off rolling and then they fell behind, and then it was, oh boy, and then the drag third period, but they still had that lull there in the second and the start of the third. So, but nevertheless, the Barracuda for about 15 minutes were absolutely on fire. The Gulls had no shots in the first 10 minutes. Then they got 1 shot on goal about 10.5 minutes in. And then the backbreaker, the second shot of the game that the Barracuda allow, it goes in off the hands of Sam Carrick, the 32 goal scorer in the regular season, who really actually did not think was that noticeable for the Gulls in this playoff series. I'll talk about who was noticeable for the Gulls if you are a Gulls fan watching. Thank you. But Corey Tropp with an unbelievable play does a spinorama behind the net and feeds the puck to Sam Carrick, who's pretty much uncontested in the slot. That's been a theme for the Barracuda in the last 2 months, is their slot coverage and their defensive positioning. It has really been an issue where it wasn't for the first more than half of the season. But Sam Carrick with his second goal right there beats Josef Kornash to the stick side, tied at 1 going into first intermission. But really, that was about 4 minutes left when Carrick scored that goal. But yeah, about the last 5 minutes, the Gulls really carried the play, and they never let up. Early in the second period, the Barracuda went down on a penalty kill, a 4-minute penalty to Kevin Fitzgerald for high sticking. And Andy Walensky, the Barracuda kill off the first half of that power play and looked really good. Josef Kornash made several great saves, and the defense really stood up in that moment, made some key blocks. Jacob Middleton, best defenseman on this team by far, in my opinion, really gave it his all tonight, and especially on that penalty kill. Things look good. It looked like it was going to get fully killed off, but there you go with 90 seconds left. Barracuda in the power play. The Barracuda lose a face-off, comes out to Andy Walensky. I don't know how this puck goes in. He winds up, takes the big slap shot. It looked like Josef Kornash had the near post covered. Looked like he was slightly screened, but his positioning was there. Maybe it went in under his arm. My theory is it went under his blocker hand and under his blocker hand above his pad. That's the only thing I could see. I had a great vantage point of this shot, and I have no idea how it got through, but it did go through and gives the Gulls a 2-1 lead early in the second period. Really just a disheartening goal. And the Barracuda never got themselves back into it. They I don't want to say they threw themselves a pity party, because they did go out and they competed, but they just didn't have that extra step like what the Sharks had last night, like what Kevin LeBanc sure as hell had last night. And it was the Gulls game from here. 3 minutes exactly after that, Sam Steele gets his third goal of the season. I am completely blanking on this one, folks. I apologize for this. But Max Jones gets the assist. So if those of you are in the chat want to remind me of this Sam Steele goal, because I seriously cannot remember. Maybe I'll check out the Tealtown USA Twitter, which you should be following, of course, because I was actually the one tweeting from that tonight, and I'm sure I recapped the goal. So let's search really quickly. Oh, here's a mention right here that I want to get to you. Turnovers completely killing the San Jose Barracuda tonight, and now I remember the Sam Steele goal. I don't know how Max Jones actually ended up with an assist, because turnovers were the death of this team in the second period. Keaton Middleton, who a player that I really raved about at the start of the year and for long stretches of the season, but he I think when the defense started to let up and become a little more inconsistent this year, Keaton Middleton was part of that. And I don't mean part of the problem, because he's a guy that I like, a guy that I would like to see come back next season. But I think the big body started to wear down as the season wore on down the stretch. And Keaton Middleton started making kind of clumsy mistakes, clumsy passes. And this was the result in the game-winning goal, because Keaton Middleton turns the puck over. There was a little bit of pressure on him in the right corner, but more or less just coughs it up right up the middle to Sam Steele. Sam Steele just basically needs to pivot, get himself in position, rips it by Josef Kornash, high to the stick side. Nothing Kornash could do. In fact, I was impressed that Kornash even had a semblance of getting in position to try and make that save, because Sam Steele had everyone dead to rights after that misplay. So unfortunately, 3-1 at this point for the Barracuda, and they just continue to turn the puck over, turn it over. It was just bad news. So thankfully, Kiefer Sherwood gets a slashing penalty a little over halfway through the second period. So the at times lifeless Barracuda power play does get on the board here. And this was another lifeless power play. There was nothing to be said about this. But Nick DeSimone ends up with the puck on, again, the left side point, much like Andy Walensky. Takes a big slap shot through a triple screen. No chance for Jeff Glass. He had his glove up. That was something that I mentioned on the Game 3 show, was how in those screens I'd like to see Josef Kornash have his glove up, which he did have tonight. So a good job by the goaltending coaches, especially of getting Nabokov and working with him on that. But Jeff Glass blows right past his glove. He can't see it. Power play goal gets the Barracuda back on the board at 3-2 with about 6.5 minutes left in the second period. But that's really the game, guys. Really is the game. Third period, a turnover in the defensive zone. Adam Cracknell ends up getting credit for this. Matt Barry was basically in the exact same spot in the slot as Sam Carrick was on the first goal. More slot troubles because Matt Barry is there open in the slot. Adam Cracknell's there open in the slot. There at least was a Barracuda defenseman in between the two, but still you've got two guys who are not really covered. Barry shoots one, I guess goes off Adam Cracknell and in past Josef Kornash, who was sliding from right to left on that. So 4-2, that's pretty much all she wrote. The empty net goal there towards the end, Josef Kornash gets pulled with about 3 minutes left, and Chase DeLeo gets the empty net goal. My favorite player of this series, and it was interesting to me that he wasn't a star of the game, although I guess all he did was have the empty net goal. But to me, Chase DeLeo was the X factor in this series. That line with Justin Kloos was just remarkable for the Gulls. And the Barracuda didn't have anything to counter with it. The Barracuda, I feel like, are a deeper team than the Gulls this year, especially with the incoming players after college seasons ended and junior seasons ended and whatnot, getting Ivan Chekhovich and Ryan Merkley and Marcus Vela and Andrew Shortridge and, just on and on and on. Oh, you can only have so many players in the lineup, of course. But I just think this team was a better team, but the Gulls had the better high-end talent. Chase DeLeo, 4th goal of the season. And that's your season for the Barracuda. So the Gulls win the series 3-1. They will move on to the next round. I do not believe they have an opponent as of yet. Actually, no, they do not have an opponent as of yet. And I will get to the out-of-town scores here in a little bit. But let me check out the chat because I've been chatting here for a little, or talking straight about the game for a little bit. Hi, Jerry. How's it going? Hey, John, how's it going? Richard's in the chat here, I see. Of course, I mentioned Sleepy Mofo and Cheryl. Cheryl, were you at the game? Because I didn't see you a couple of times when I went and checked, but perhaps you were there and I just missed you. Yeah, so Richard says he feels like the Barracuda didn't want it. And I don't, I'll never say, oh, that's actually not true. I won't never say that they didn't want it. I don't feel that was the case in this instance, but I do feel like the Barracuda, once they gave up that backbreaker on the 3-1 goal to Sam Steele on the turnover, the Barracuda just seemed to be mentally out of it at that point. They just couldn't find that gear. Even when Nick DeSimone got the power play goal, just didn't look like anything was clicking. And actually, that's a perfect segment to what I wanted to talk about next. Was if I was to make an adjustment with how the Barracuda went down the stretch, it'd be the reverse of the Barracuda After Dark I did at the start of the year, sometime around Halloween or mid-November, somewhere in that stretch of time, where I said the Barracuda are just rolling. They were steamrolling everyone throughout the year or throughout the start of the year and couldn't be stopped. Francis Perron couldn't be stopped. And the lines, I was saying, because this is a developmental league and a developmental team, I wouldn't mind seeing Roy Sommer switch the lines up anyway, even though they're working because when they stop working, you need to try something different. So don't wait around until things stop working. Just get everyone familiar with each other and whatnot. And he did do that, but then Coach Sommer kept the line jumbler going. And part of that was injuries. Manny Vieder injured, as far as I'm aware, injured with a lower body injury. Rourke Chartier, as far as I'm aware, more post-concussion symptoms. Again, these are unconfirmed because I'm not in the media room. I would love to be in the media room, but I'm not in the media room. But Rourke Chartier, a lot of rumblings about his concussion history and whatnot. And it's pretty much been telegraphed by Roy Sommer in the interviews, if you listen to Nick Nollenberger on KDOW, because Roy Sommer said it's kind of a day by day. Some days he feels good, some days he doesn't. We all know that's a concussion. Sad to say, especially with his lengthy history dating back to juniors with this situation. So I hope for the best for him and his career, because it was nice to see him in the NHL this year, well deserved. But it just didn't happen. And then Jonathan Dahlen got hurt right off the bat. Only a few games after he was acquired from Vancouver at the trade deadline. So some key injuries there. And then the call-ups of Lucas Schradil, Dylan Gambrell was on the bus, or I don't even know if you can call it a bus since it was the hallway walk. But nevertheless, that does factor into the line jumbling. But even in the playoffs here, you saw a line of Ivan Shakovich, Dylan Gambrell, and TJ Hensick who were rolling. And then nothing else was really working with the other three lines. Alex True, of course, just did not get himself going. Even after the goal that he scored, I really thought he could step it up by getting on the score sheet, and it didn't happen. But what I would have liked to have seen was go back to those lines in October. Put Francis Perron, Dylan Gambrell, and you don't have Vincent Praplin, but you do have TJ Hensick. Make that a line. In fact, I can try and bring up the lines. Actually, I'm not going to bring up the lines, but if you go way back into my history, I'll try and pull it up on a future episode here. But I really liked the lines at the start of the year. I believe Jaden Halbgewachs was with Max Latunov. And I know John McCarthy, Jeff VL, and Evan Weinger was a line. And these are all lines that got split up, except for McCarthy and Weinger, at least as a two-man crew there, stuck it out. But, it was just I don't know why he didn't go back to what had been working, because when you're down 3-1 in the series and you're making these lineup changes like you are, that seemed like an option to me. Richard saying that Manny had surgery on his leg, and that was the story that I had heard too. I did hear a little bit of a rumor or something else there, but that's my understanding is the leg injury, which he had 2 or 3 of this year. So hopefully Manny Wiederer, if he's back next year, will be good to go, as well as the other injured players. Thank you for the compliment there, Jerry. I appreciate that. Now you say, okay, how about this? Jerry is feeding right into the storyline that I want to go, the narrative on this show. Jerry is asking, how many of the Barracuda can hang around now for call-up to the Sharks? It now, with the Barracuda gone, is officially Black Ace time. So I'm going to pull up my Barracuda depth chart. In the meantime, for those of you listening on your favorite podcatcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, Pandora, the one that I am always forgetting, or just any other service that you're using. Of course, thank you for tuning in. Sorry we missed you live, or sorry I missed you live, but you can always send in your tweets to @tealtownusa. You can send them to me at KevinLacey22. I'll be glad to talk to you. I did get a couple more tweets sent to me, and I'll try and pull those up as I'm pulling up my depth chart. I mentioned the one from Jock earlier. That was Jock King 380 at Jock King 380. So thanks for that. How's Ivan Shakovic looking? Is he NHL ready? This is from at Maxim Sanfran. No, Ivan Shakovic is not. I really like him. I've been super high on him. Next year, it's going to be amazing watching him and Sasha Chmelevski together with the Barracuda, unless Chmelevski makes the Sharks, of course. But I don't think Ivan is ready yet. I would peg him around a 2021 NHL arrival. I do think this kid will be an NHL player. He's got the speed, he's got the skill, he's got creativity, but he has smart creativity. The only thing he needs right now is consistency and probably better line mates. I mean, of course, I liked him, Gambrell and Hensick together. But of course, Hensick is winding down in his career. Dylan Gambrell is like a really good complement for any skilled player because Gambrell is very defensively responsible and he has playmaking ability and some finish. Dylan Gambrell is a player that I think will really take a step forward next year, and it'll be a key year for him because since he was a higher draft pick of the Sharks, and there will be roster spots opening up, I think, in the bottom 6. That's the time for Dylan Gambrell, who was lights out for the Barracuda here for most of the season, I would say. And he tried his damnedest out there. He's someone that I never felt like gave up on a game. But so Ivan probably will be with Chmelevski, and who knows who else will be there. But let's run down the Black Aces. So, for example, Shakovic, I don't think would be a Black Ace since he is such a young kid. He had his junior year. He gets a little bit of the pro game going now. He'll probably get a nice start to his off season, get in conditioning. What do I want to say? Get in better physical shape, I should say, because he does need to add weight. Much like Ryan Merkley, another player. Ryan Merkley might get a Black Ace call up just because the Sharks are so high on him. They may feel that it's good just to have him around NHL talent, especially since, the whole story about I don't even want to really get into it, but just, his mindset and whatnot and the positive steps that he's taken forward. You could get him in the NHL locker room just to get him back, continuing with that progress. But that's totally up to the Sharks to decide on. Dylan Gambrell, easy Black Ace here, easy. Alex True, I also have to think, despite his playoff woes, unless he's injured, got to be up with the Sharks as a Black Ace. Antti Suomela, for the fact that he spent half the year with the Sharks. Fourth line, didn't really notice him tonight. Fourth line for much of his time with the Barracuda, but nevertheless, a player who has skill, has talent, and might be the next guy in if the Sharks suffer yet another injury on their forward group. Hopefully not, but Suomela, or as you know him, Antti Suomela. Again, if you're new to the show, I really don't like calling him Suomela or Suomela because it's not Vesa Tascala and so on and so forth. So, and he was Suomela in Finland. I don't understand how he's suddenly not Suomela over here. But anyway, he'll be a call up. Francis Perron probably will be a Black Ace. Max Latunov could be. I could see him just, again, sitting out, getting focused on the next season and really just getting himself ready for that. And everyone else on the forward group I can't see getting called up. And a lot of the rest of the forward group are under AHL only contracts. So a player like John McCarthy, a player like TJ Hensick, those would be the top 2 AHL contracts. They would not qualify to be called up to the Sharks. So on the back end, Jacob Middleton easily will be up. Nick DeSimone, I'm pretty sure, will also be called up, especially if for whatever reason there's a rash of injuries, like Erik Karlsson goes down and Tim Heed goes down. Being a right side offensive minded defenseman, I think in that case, Nick DeSimone would get a lineup spot. So get him up with the Black Aces. Kevin Fitzgerald had a really nice year for the Barracuda. I've really liked his progression. So he could have an outside shot of being a Black Ace. And I think Kyle Wood, just because of his age and where he's at in his career, Kyle Wood probably would also get a Black Ace spot. But everyone else will be starting on their off season. And then of course the goaltenders. Why am I forgetting the goaltenders? Antoine Bibeau, who's already been called up, I think 3 times in just the first round alone. So clearly he's going to be a Black Ace. And Josef Koranash, I kind of like Ryan Merkley, where I think you want to get him exposed to an NHL locker room at a young age and whatnot. Because Josef Koranash, I really high on this kid. I think he is the future starting goaltender for the San Jose Sharks. Still years away from that, but I really believe that he could be the starting goalie for the Sharks. So get him in now, and then you've got Andrew Shortridge and Zach Sawchenko, who Sawchenko has not reported, and I believe he won't until next year at this point. But Andrew Shortridge, I'm sure, will now focus on his offseason, getting ready to try and battle Zach Sawchenko for the backup spot with the Barracuda. So that is where I'm going with the Black Aces. Anyone else want to chime in on a name in the chat? Go for it. I do see Skylar Greenberg now saying who is likely to make the jump next year for the Barracuda. I think I want to save that for another show since we are just fresh off the season end. But I have maintained that I feel Alex True is the dark horse to be the 13th forward for the Sharks next year, even over Dylan Gambrell, and especially if Rourke Chartier's injuries continue to plague him. So I'm giving Alex True a shot. Jacob Middleton, all depends on the defensive situation. Jacob Middleton could be on the Sharks next year because don't know what's going to happen with Joachim Ryan or Tim Heed, and Tim Heed is an unrestricted free agent. Of course, Erik Karlsson is an unrestricted free agent, and if the Sharks do lose Erik Karlsson, as much as I love Jacob Middleton, he's not the guy that's going to be replacing Erik Karlsson. So that's that. And Nick, dang it! Oh, I was doing so good, but I just said Nick Merkley, Ryan Merkley. Ah, man, Ryan Merkley, I cannot see him be. He played well, and I went in depth on Ryan Merkley each of the last 2 Barracuda After Dark, so I don't really want to get into that. But you can definitely go back and rewatch that or re-listen to those shows because, I really talked about him a lot. And if you missed those shows, don't miss any future shows. Hit the subscribe button and set the alert so that you know the next time there will be a Barracuda After Dark or the next time there's any kind of Teal Town USA content. So definitely get that going. Ryan Merkley, though, I will just say really quickly, he had a decent game. Really not noticeable tonight, but it was fine. Again, with a young kid like that, no mistakes. I noticed no mistakes tonight. Just much like the team, just kind of went through the motions. And so I think it'll be fine with Ryan Merkley here. But I don't see him being on the Sharks next year. And Sasha Chmelevski, he's the other one who could be, because he is that damn good. He will absolutely be an NHLer. To me, there's no doubt that Sasha Chmelevski will be an NHLer. So keep an eye on that kid for sure. Number 55, at least for now, he's number 55. But who am I kidding? The Sharks never change jersey numbers anyway. So let's see here. Let's go on to let's go to the out-of-town scores here, and then I'm going to circle back to a little bit more on the Barracuda roster before I wrap up for the night. So there were 3 other games in the AHL tonight, and let's get rolling with that. Charlotte Checkers are now up 2-1 in their series over the Providence Bruins. Of course, Charlotte was the number 1 overall team in the American Hockey League this year, and they definitely look like it tonight. A 3-0 shutout victory for Charlotte takes them 2-1 in the series, a best-of-5 series, of course. against Providence, and Alex Nedeljkovic with a 20-save shutout there. The Toronto Marlies finished off the Rochester Americans with a clean sweep, a 3-0 clean sweep, and they won 3-1 tonight behind a hat trick from Adam Brooks. An empty net goal sealed that one for the hat trick. But Toronto, the reigning Calder Cup champions, who I saw a lot of content, a lot of negative content on the AHL.com this year about Toronto. Just their head coach, Sheldon Keefe, who I have repeatedly said is the best coach not coaching in the NHL. Sheldon Keefe was really not happy with his club, but man, he's got to be thrilled now because they are moving on to the second round. On the Western side, the Chicago Wolves tied up the series at 2 games apiece. It is going to a deciding game 5. They beat the Grand Rapids Griffins 5-2. 5 different goal scorers for Chicago. It was kind of a wild third period, it would seem. No scoring in the first, and then the middle of the second got crazy. 3 goals in 5 minutes between the two teams. And then in the third period, Cody Glass, top prospect for the Golden Knights, gets the winning goal 1 minute and 3 seconds into the third period, and then add a couple of empty net goals, and the Wolves tie up the series. So that will go to a game 5. Let me just pull up the, oh my goodness, what happened to my brackets? I have lost it. There we go. Sorry, guys. Sorry for those of you listening on SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes. You know the drill. Sunday. So they have a lengthy time gap here after playing 4 games in 6 nights for maybe 7 nights. Anyway, they get 3 full days off before game 5 on Sunday. That is an afternoon game at Chicago. So in the other series, the Iowa Wild are still up on the Milwaukee Admirals. That is a 2-0 series lead for Iowa, going back to Milwaukee for potentially 3 games in a row. Milwaukee, as the higher seed, is going to need to win out at home, and the next game in that one is tomorrow night. They're in Milwaukee. In the Western Conference, of course, the Bakersfield Condors are up 2-1 against Colorado. The Eagles, the Avalanche affiliate. Last time I talked to you about that, that was a 1-1 series tie, but Bakersfield won last evening 5-2. Game 4 is Saturday in Bakersfield, and the Condors can have the chance to close that one out. And let's see here. 2 more Eastern Conference matchups that I hadn't gotten to. Hershey is up 2-1 against Bridgeport, and that game 4 will be tomorrow night in Hershey. They will try and close out at home. And then the Cleveland Monsters are up 2-1 against Syracuse, which I still can't believe that is happening. Elaine Shercliffe, I would like to think that you're watching, but I'm going to give you some mad kudos because she does a great job covering the Monsters out there in Cleveland on Twitter. Again, Elaine Shercliffe, if you like everything AHL. Cleveland will try and close this series out at home tomorrow night against Syracuse, because if they don't, game 5 goes back to Syracuse in that one. So that's your AHL playoff roundup, I guess you'd call it. So let's move on to 3 stars of the game. All goals tonight. Number 3 star, Sam Carrick with a goal. Adam Cracknell was the 2nd star with the goal, despite the fact that I didn't think Adam Cracknell did much tonight. But Sam Steele was the number 1 star, and give an honorable mention to Jeff Glass for really shutting the door on the Barracuda this season. I mean, I thought, oh, this is going to go horribly for San Diego if they're relying on Jeff Glass, because he really just did not have it this year. I'm going to try and pull up the stats, but Kevin Boyle, to me, I do know that Kevin Boyle was a little inconsistent at the end of the year. I did not think he would lose his coach's favor because of that. But you're looking at Kevin Boyle, who had a .907 save percentage in the regular season, versus Jeff Glass, who had an .883 save percentage. But here in the playoffs, well, unfortunately, playoffs are over. But Jeff Glass here in the playoffs now with a 917 save percentage. And the Barracuda only mustered up 9 goals on him in the 4 games that he played. Really, still 4 games that he played because he missed only 6 minutes of that game 1 that started out so promising for our beloved team in teal. But that's that. So get back to the chat here. Do I think Dallas Aikens will be the Ducks coach next year? Maybe. Last time on Teal Tinted Glasses, which is another podcast that I am on, it's not on the Teal Town USA channel, so search Teal Tinted Glasses on YouTube for that one. We discussed coaches who are good stopgap coaches and some coaches who are good to take over the reins in a rebuilding team, and of course a coach who comes in after the rebuild has already begun and whatnot. I think Dallas Eakins falls in under a stopgap coach or a rebuilding coach. So in that respect, I guess he'll fit for the Ducks, but at the same time, he was kind of a rebuilding coach for Edmonton, and that didn't work out. I mean, granted, I think the situation with Edmonton was Edmonton thought they were going to be at a competitive level. So when they let Tom Rennie go, who was definitely kind of the build it up before we bring in our ace kind of thing, I think they thought Dallas Aikens was going to be he's going to take us to the cup and all this, and we're going to compete for years and years because we have Connor McJesus and whatnot. But that didn't happen. So, I think it could be the right fit for Dallas Eakins and Anaheim if they want to go that route. I think Dallas Eakins is a great AHL coach. I think he's best suited to really just help the kids develop and get them up to the NHL. Now, granted, unless you're Roy Sommer, those kind of coaches are few and far between. Most of them who are in the AHL are looking for NHL jobs. So I do think that Dallas Eakins, if he doesn't end up with the Ducks this year, or at least as a head coach, he could be in an assistant coach role. So we'll see. But that's a really good question, Jerry. I like that. And I know you're from San Diego, so you have that definite interest there. So again, thanks. Richard, I'll get back to that because I wanted to bring that up here. But Cheryl saying that she thinks the Sharks just love Roy Sommer, and of course he's been around for 22 seasons. But maybe it's time for a fresh voice. We can speculate all we want. I know that Roy Sommer is a very popular guy in the locker room. He has a lot of tutelage. From what I understand, he's very good about kind of building the players up as they become adults and maturing as men and whatnot. I think he has a great grasp of that. And then the hockey, of course, I think in Roy Sommer's case, he kind of lets the hockey dictate itself, and he's the manager. And, everyone has their own style. So he's the one who says, hey, I think this will work and whatnot. But now it's up to the players to go out and do it themselves. And I don't think that's a bad philosophy. It all just depends on the personnel that you have and the what your organizational values are like heading towards. So I think Roy Sommer is safe. Maybe it is time to switch things up. But as little success as the Sharks franchise has had in the minor leagues in terms of no Calder Cups, no Turner Cups, no whatever league that we've been affiliated with, except for the Kelly Cup. But the Kelly Cup and the ECHL, we had 4 of those. But that's we don't even have an ECHL affiliate, so we know how far the Sharks think of that. But I think that the Sharks haven't suffered from it. I mean, the Sharks have made the playoffs all but 1 year in the last 20 two. I think once in the last 22 years the Sharks have missed the playoffs, so that's not a bad run. Twice in the last 22 years. So, all right. Sorry, that pause was just the me reading the chat there. But talking about future of the club, Roy Sommer, is he in? Is he out? Whatnot? I think he'll stay in. I think we will see change in the veteran leadership on this roster next year. TJ Hensick, again, much rumored to be his last year, getting ready to settle down with his family and just focus on his family life. And so if tonight was TJ Hensick's last game, thank you for being a part of this organization. He did very well, and which he played most of the season in the ECHL, and it's easy to kind of fall into a pattern of playing down to your competition. And TJ Hensick, when he got called up to the AHL, he didn't miss a beat. Maybe not the fastest skater, but a player who's put up a ton of points at the AHL level and played around the world and whatnot. And that is great experience to pass on to the youngest team playing in North America, professional team playing in North America, like the Barracuda were. So that's great. But John McCarthy, the captain, where is he going to go next year? Because he, in the recent years, has re-signed new deals in February, and that didn't happen this year. So is this John McCarthy's swan song? Because I don't see him playing for any other organization unless he goes back to Boston, where he's originally from, and wants to play for the Providence Bruins, even though they're obviously Rhode Island, but still a great partnership between Boston and Providence. Unless he heads out there, I just don't see John McCarthy playing anywhere else. So if it's time to move on from John McCarthy for this organization, then wow, what a career. Mostly a minor league career, but he played in the Olympics, so he wasn't a bum, clearly. I know it wasn't the NHL's Olympics and whatnot, but you still had to be damn good to make that tournament. And he looked good there, and he had a few seasons in the NHL, and, hats off to him if this is his career. So I just wanted to bring that out there and give kudos to the veteran guys who really going to pass along a lot of knowledge to these future Sharks going, throughout this season. So think that's pretty much it for the show tonight. As you can tell, my segues are getting a little sloppier here because I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. I don't know about you guys, but I was up till 4 in the morning last night because I was completely wired from that Sharks finish. And not to mention, there was some shenanigans in my hockey game that I played last night, and a certain number 22 might be suspended. Yeah, but anyway, so I was just on full adrenaline, and so actually I know how I'm going to finish up this show. First off, a couple of just feel good things that I saw. Today I was at the Shark store during my lunch break because I just felt like I had to be at the arena for my lunch hour. And I work downtown anyway. So there was a grandmother who was looking for a jersey for her grandson. And a buddy of mine who works in the Shark store was kind of guiding her on jerseys. And she decided, I think I'm going to get the Captain Joe Pavelski jersey. And I'm just sitting there watching and whatnot. And then she's saying, I don't know if this size fits and whatnot. And then I stepped in and I said, what's his build? She said, oh, he's pretty skinny, kind of, and I said, well, I'm pretty skinny, so try it on me. Oh yeah, size 46, whatever, right? And then I just told her, it warms my heart that you're getting your grandson a Joe Pavelski jersey. I think that's an excellent choice. And then she goes, you're not Joe Pavelski, are you? And I'm like, no, I'm not Joe Pavelski. That would be awesome if I was Joe Pavelski. But it was just kind of a cool little moment. It warms my heart when I see grandparents and parents and whatnot going out. They have no idea about the Sharks, about hockey or whatever, but they make the effort to make their children and make their grandchildren happy. So that was great. So I wanted to share that story. And then kind of on the same lines, last night, Tealtown USA received a couple of tweets from @88's Littlest Fan. And you're going to want to check those out because Tealtown USA sent him a gift, a Brent Burns gift package with the playoff towel and a signed puck and just another great story. Just check out the videos. They're real short little clips. One is of him opening the package and getting really excited, and the other one is just a thank you video, 9-second clip. You know, they're awesome. So, you know, thank you for sending us those little videos @88's Littlest Fan. We're glad that you enjoy Tealtown USA, and yeah, just awesome. Yeah, Jerry saying, "Oh my God, check it out." Yes, go check it out. I swear, just do that. And then lastly, kind of a different trend here with the fans, but I need to pull this up. And of course, I had it all rigged, and now not even on my Twitter. What just happened? What is going on? Let me pull up my Twitter. Again, one more shameless plug. I'm @KevinLacey22. Oh, geez, I did not realize I've had this graphic up the whole time. Okay, let me pull that down. Sorry, geez, I have been promoting myself the whole show on YouTube, and I had no idea. But let me get my Twitter up because I do want to show you one more picture. And if those of you listening on the audio streams, come check out my feed. Where are we? We're almost there. I tweeted a lot. Okay, now, see, this is what happens when I have things set up and then I lose them. Okay. I'm going to screen share this right now for you guys. Or not. You got to be kidding me. Technical malfunctions when you're your own producer. Okay, here we go. Hopefully this is showing for you guys right now. This was taken from pre-game live last evening. Everybody knows me around the arena as the guy with the turtleneck. It's not by choice. I'm not trying to be the turtleneck guy. I just wear a turtleneck because that's my superstition for Sharks games, and I have a long neck and it keeps my neck very warm and very comfortable. So that's why I wear the turtlenecks to the games. It's not a publicity stunt, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, hey, it's that turtleneck guy. However, it is still nevertheless a thing that I am known for and kind of has become my thing nevertheless. So who is this guy? I'm not mad. If you're looking at the photo, it's George Kittle and Curtis Brown, and in the background there's a guy stealing my look. Who is this guy? Again, not mad. I don't think it's because of me. If it is, I'd be flattered, but what is happening here, guys? What is going on? So let me know in the chat. Okay, I think Richard saw that. I think the comment there is that. So, okay, I got to find out who this guy is and what the story is with that. Because then even after the game at 3:30 in the morning, and I'm still watching the replay of Postgame Live, and there he is again. And I'm like, what is, my mind was blown. So anyway, give me some details on that. Tweet me @KevinLacey22, and so I find out who the heck this guy is. But anyway, so that's a wrap on that's a wrap on this show. Oh, Christine, really quickly. Christine, good to see you in the chat. Even in 85-degree weather, yes, game. It was against the LA Kings in the dreaded 2014 playoffs. You know that playoff, but it was a game where Logan Couture scored in overtime, which I think was game 2. It was 97 degrees out, and I was an idiot still in that turtleneck because obviously at that point my neck was very warm, but it was the superstition and I didn't want to blow it, so I still wore the turtleneck for that. So yeah, no matter how freaking hot it is, I will still wear it to the games. So that's a thing. Is there a place that I can find that replay anywhere? I was looking last night and couldn't, says Cheryl Ganapole. Cheryl, I don't know. I would think that at some point NBC Sports Bay Area or California will air that again. I know they were airing it all night last night, which was, again, a problem why I only got 2 hours of sleep and went to bed at 4 in the morning, because I was just up watching everything I could, especially since I was playing hockey and being suspended for fighting and whatnot. I didn't get to watch the Sharks game, so I watched it on the replay there and whatnot. But anyway, so that's that. I'm going to wrap this show up so I can get some sleep. Game five. See, I really am tired. Game one. There will be no game five for the Barracuda. This series is over. Again, 3-1. San Diego wins and they move on. But game one for the Sharks against the Colorado Avalanche, Friday. I will be there. So you can catch me, turtleneck and all, trying to find the imposter at SAP Center. I'm Kevin Lacey. Thanks for watching Tealtown USA. Thank you for your support. Oh, and Richard and Brian and Will and Dave and Sarah and the entire crew of Section 109 at the Barracuda games. Thank you for making them so much fun. I love all you guys. It's been a privilege to yell at and scream and enjoy things and you know, whatever. It's just a blast. Barracuda games are fun. Go check them out next year. I'm telling you, they're a blast. So have a great night, guys. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah. By the way, this is the part where the little pop-up things come up. So I just stand here and look pretty. Okay, cutting the feed. Have a good night, guys.